So just a prior warning, this one will be a bit of a waffly video, just the very nature of it. So if you're not interested, click off. If you want to hear my thoughts, carry on watching. So this is just in regards to Cyberpunk 2077, which of course is coming out at this time of filming in 5 hours or so, 6 hours. It's a game that is highly anticipated across the world. You don't need me to really tell you too much about it. Made by CG Project Red, the creators, or game creators anyway, of the Witcher series. A company that I hold in quite high regard when it comes to RPGs, and generally are one of the quote-unquote darlings, I guess, of the industry in terms of, in terms of AAA game developers. Now, of course, they are just as bad in terms of, or not, maybe not quite as, but in terms of their efficacy, in terms of their staffing and what have you. I know there's some issues with some of their maybe core beliefs in the company. I don't know enough about that to really comment on it, so I won't be doing so, but I know for some people that will be an issue. However, today I'm talking about how I think a Cyberpunk 2077 is going to go, as in how I think I will receive it. So one of the things that I've been struggling with recently, I don't really necessarily mean struggling, considering recently, is that a lot of people have been producing their sort of like top lists of 2020 for stuff, top 2020 games, for example. And I think that is so difficult to do, especially within my criteria of, the games having been released in that year. And when we've got one that releases so close to the end, to make something like that now would be, well, you'd be missing out, effectively, on the opportunity for Cyberpunk to be on there. So, I've formulated a few games that I already know will be on there, that I've enjoyed and I've played and what have you. But, it's whereabouts do I leave this Cyberpunk 2077 on the list? Am I leaving the top spot open for it? Is that where I'm expecting it to go? And I think with that sort of level of hype and all the stuff around, all the merchandise and constant videos online, I have seen probably 0.5% of all the videos that have gone up about Cyberpunk, as in like official ones. So probably like 2 or 3, or 1 or 2. I think today I rewatched the E3 trailer from 2018. Just because I don't really want to look into it too much. I don't really see the point. I think I would like to experience stuff for myself, especially as I am someone who has already made a decision that I'm going to play it straight away. If it was something that I was maybe waiting for, I'd probably wait for reviews or wait for impressions and that sort of stuff, which, I do occasionally, and I find them really useful when I do. And it has stopped me from buying games before. And then now with this one, I'm taking, the full plunge in. This doesn't happen all that often as well, where something that I'm really quite looking forward to comes out like this. And I think probably, I'm trying to remember sort of like the last thing I was really sort of excited for like this. And I think it might have been like Three Kingdoms Total War, potentially. Probably that's the last big one I can remember. Then obviously Fallout 4 before then. They're not really all that memorable, apart from the big ones like that are important to you. So this is only one of them for me. I don't think Cyberpunk is necessarily shot in like this sort of like futuristic dystopia thing. I'm not particularly that keen on it. I quite like Deus Ex, which I think this game is quite akin to, in terms of its aesthetics and the cybergenetics and all that sort of stuff. And I think that that's not a bad place to go from. It's just not my preferred sort of setting, but I'm sure it will be really good. Then we've got the fact that, what am I saying now? It's made by the people who made Witcher, of course. So there's a lot of pedigree there to say that it should be good. Like try saying that about Mass Effect Andromeda, right? God. Anyway, can't remember where I was going with this. Yeah, basically stuff is crazy, and we'll see. The weight of expectation on the game is so high that if it's not in the first 2 slots on the Game of the Year list, then there's something profoundly something that's profoundly gone wrong, either with how the game is set up, developed, the bugs, for example. I know I have seen. I'm not oblivious to all the social media posts. I do see stuff like that people have been complaining about. But it's one of them. For me, The Witcher 3 wasn't my game of the year that year, even though I came back to it about 18 months after it initially launched, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, they made some key changes to how the combat works, how the mechanics are, but they did the same, I must say, right off the bat, they did the same thing with The Witcher 2 as well. And both times they were vastly improved when I went through to play them the second time round. So it's just a matter of, will we see that again from Cyberpunk? My personal thoughts are that it might well be that way. I imagine, cynically, that I will feel inclined to put it on the top 5 games. That it will probably go number 5 or number 4. And I'll be disappointed because of X, Y, or Z. And then we'll come back to play it, a year down the line when there's extra content and stuff that will lure me back in, and there's been a whole series of updates. And at that point, I'll be like, you know what? This is one of the best games I've ever played. And that seems to be how I go with CD Projekt Red games. I don't know if that's just me. If that's just an experience that I've personally found, or whether it's something that is across the board. It's interesting, really. So that's my prediction. That's where I think we'll be. I hope we're not. Don't get me wrong. When a game has been hyped like this has by so many different sectors of the internet, it really does have to. It has to reach those heights, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's reached a new level of that sort of hype and expectation that we haven't seen from a CD Projekt Red game before. Now, maybe that's indicative of the delays in the release, and we will see it perform better on release than like The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3. But yeah, this is like a whole new level, really. And we're just hours away, really, from well, we're more than hours away. We're probably a couple of days away, realistically, for myself to find out, because I'm very unlikely to know in the first 2 hours of gameplay if it is like that or not. I usually gave The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3 about 5 hours in before I was like, oof, this is a struggle to play through for one reason or another, But yeah, and then the second time around, go and play through, thoroughly enjoyed it, didn't stop, just played that exclusively pretty much. It just got me hooked. So yeah, interesting one. This will either age really well or really badly, I guess. You will find out in less than a month's time when I release top 5 games. And just as a slight addendum to that, my plan is to release my top 5 most disappointing games of the year. That may also include games that I haven't played. Might be games that I wanted to play but didn't because of whatever reason. The reviews, gameplay, whatever else. They'll then have the top 5 games of the year. So that's games that have come out this year that I have played. And then finally we have the top 5 games of the year which don't have to be released this year. So 2 top 5 games. So we'll have, there'll be inclusions such as, spoiler alert, on the one where on the games that aren't released this year, Greedfall will be on there, The Outer Worlds will be on there. So games I've enjoyed playing this year that haven't come out this year. Because I think it's too easy just to go back and just ignore, for me, to do a retrospective and ignore the games that have come out previously. Even though I may not have played them at the time, sometimes they come out at a weird launch date. Sometimes they are games that have aged better than others. So it's not always clear cut. And I think that hopefully that extra video will reflect that. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this discussion piece. I hope you all enjoy Cyberpunk if you've pre-ordered it. And if not, stay tuned if you're interested in my take on it, because that, I presume, will almost definitely be on the channel. Bye for now, guys. See you later.